Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. Today Nintendo called out Bloomberg in a really big way. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, it's no secret that Bloomberg has been publishing a ton of articles about Nintendo, namely the Nintendo Switch Pro. There have been a bunch of insiders talking to Bloomberg. Bloomberg has talked about the new OLED screen, they've talked about 4K, they've talked about a new CPU. They've started a lot of rumors about that new Switch. The person behind a lot of these articles is Takashi Mochizuki, and Nintendo isn't very happy with them. Right now, it's a secret to everyone that the new Nintendo Switch OLED is $50 more expensive than the existing Switch. We went from $399.99, so basically $400, to about $450. Towards the end of the day on July 14th, Takashi Mochizuki posted an article about this Nintendo Switch price bump. And they said the price bump expected to improve Nintendo's profit margins. By scrolling down a little bit on the article here, they break down the price increase. So we see that the Switch's new 7-inch OLED display from Samsung is an extra $3 to $5 per unit. On top of that, the storage to 64 gigs from 32 is $3.50. And then the added components like the LAN port and the kickstand here cost a few bucks more. They assume the price is $10 on the existing Switch model. So the new Switch, they say, should cost about $310 instead of $350, and Nintendo is making a $40 profit. When comments and some speculation is raised around company profit margin, well, companies don't really like that. Sometimes it can paint them in a bad light. I mean, at the end of the day, the whole purpose of the company is to make money. So a price increase kind of, well, it literally makes sense for Nintendo. But at the same time here, it also gives off the image that they're money grubbing and not really the nicest company out there. I mean, we have a ton of arguments to say Nintendo isn't the nicest company out there, but at the same time here, I don't want to get sidetracked on this video. Basically, Nintendo was not happy with this article. In a tweet today from the official Nintendo Co. Limited account, they say a news report on July 15th, 2021 JST, which equates to July 14th when the article was posted, claimed that the profit margin on the Nintendo Switch OLED model would increase compared to the Nintendo Switch. To ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers, we want to make clear that that claim is incorrect. So basically what they're saying at this point is that Bloomberg is full of crap and basically fake news, that they're more or less spreading misinformation. This is a huge blow to Bloomberg's credibility. And now to really drive home the nail in the coffin, Nintendo hasn't named Bloomberg specifically, but that's who we all know they're talking about. Bloomberg has been one of the major sources of all of this Nintendo Switch Pro information. Nintendo says, we also want to clarify that we just announced that Nintendo Switch OLED model will launch in October 2021 and have no plans for launching any other model at this time. Now that means at this time in 2022, it could be a completely different story, but at the same time, they basically put all of the Switch Pro rumors to rest. Now, Nintendo directly addressing these rumors is a little bit uncharacteristic, but also completely understandable. Profit margins are financial information. Nintendo is a publicly traded company. That means they have investors. If there's information out there affecting Nintendo's finances, which also includes increased profit margins, investors want to know. They're kind of curious about it. It can even affect stock prices, so Nintendo obviously has to say something about it when stuff like this is brought to light. It's unfortunate that this statement did really hurt the credibility for Takashi here and Bloomberg. I mean, if I'm looking at articles now and I see something broken by Takashi, I'm going to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. I mean, they did break a lot of information, but at the same time, a lot of their information was incorrect. And now with Nintendo completely correcting them on the matter, I don't necessarily know what to believe from them right now. Now, Takashi did post an article today in response to Nintendo's information, and all it really does is just confirm what Nintendo says. It basically just regurgitates it. They also take a dig at Nintendo and say that the company's shares are down more than 5% since the announcement earlier this month of that new Switch OLED. The stock slid about 2% in Tokyo trading on Monday. And this is, well, I want to say stock prices fluctuate normally, like that's just a a thing. It happens in the stock market. With the Nintendo stock plummeting, well, 5% is quite a bit in one day, given the new Switch announcement. A lot of people were disappointed with that Switch OLED. A lot of investors were disappointed with that Switch OLED. They were expecting a Switch Pro. And Nintendo releasing that statement today also kind of shot themselves in the foot. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. By stating that they're not making any additional profit on these new Switches. Well, prospective investors might not like to hear that. If you think about it, if you're thinking about investing in Nintendo stock, and then you hear that Nintendo is making a $40 profit, an additional $40 profit on these new Switches, well, that's very interesting. Hey, the company is making even more money. And then you find out, no, they're not making any additional money. And in fact, the new Switch is using the same hardware under the hood as the older Switch. It's not really that much better at all. And fans are pissed off about it. Well, then this isn't a good thing from an investor standpoint. So Nintendo's statement today more or less hurt them as well. If by any chance you're more interested in learning about Nintendo's financial status in terms of how much they make, how much they lose, and a bunch of other information, then there is an annual report that is published. There's one up right now for the fiscal year ending March 31st. This report is public, it's free to use, and I will leave a link in the description below. If you don't know what you're looking at here, this report can get very confusing. There's a ton of information in it, but at the same time, it gives you a great insight into what's going on at Nintendo. But anyways, that is all I've got for this video. Let me know your thoughts on this whole Nintendo versus Bloomberg saga in the comments below. Who do you think won? Who do you think lost? If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.